we go. All right. Welcome to the Associated Guests. I, as always, am your host, Alfie Animus, here at the Bear Mind channel. And today, oh man, Gavin Newsom tries to relate to black people by telling them how stupid he is. That's super awkward and cringe. Cartels torch Mexico, proving who's really in charge down there. And then we'll get into some really, really dumb tweets on, if it's even still called tweets. Whatever, I'm calling it tweets on X. Let's get into it.
I'm just trying to you.
I want it to be a surprise.
Just like you, because he's dumb.
I'm not, I'm not trying to impress you. I'm just trying to impress upon you. I'm like you. I'm no better than you. I'm a 960 SAT guy. Just like you. And and I'm not trying to offend anyone, trying to act all there if you got 940.
And look, I would I would completely think this is just some politician's lame attempt to relate to someone. If this was his first time trying to overly relate to black people. He's talked about how poor he was growing up and this and that he was a basketball star and all this other stuff. None of which is true, by the way. But he keeps trying to do this. He keeps trying to relate to the black voter. When in all actuality, I'm pretty sure, I think he's related to Nancy Pelosi. I think he's still a nepotism hire. I'll pull that up while we continue.
But literally a 960 SAT guy. I cannot, you've never seen me read a speech because I cannot read a speech.
I mean, he's trying to sound like Adam Sandler, trying to get Drew Barrymore in 50 First Dates. I can't read. He literally just says he can't read. This man's the governor. And instead of trying to be relatable, he's coming across as the exact white privilege that he's trying to not show here on stage.
Maybe the wrong business to be in.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Wow.
I can't read.
Yeah.
What?
I can't read, and I did poorly on my SATs, fellow blacks.
Just like you.
And that's the worst part. He's talking to a mostly black crowd. And he's trying to relate to them by proving how stupid he is. You can't make this shit up, man.
Okay, it's like this is a thing where people say, "Oh, well, we will tell some jokes, go through some bits that are undoubtedly probably more offensive than that on paper."
Yeah.
But in spirit, that tells you what he thinks of you.
Yeah.
Right? When people ask, "Where does the racism actually?"
It's different coming from a comedian or some rando on the street.
You get it, right?
And the governor of California who wants to be president.
Yes. Yeah, he really means it. By the way, this is not unique to Gavin Newsom. Just a refresher, he is joining a long line of Democrats who pander to black people by also letting you know that they're not super capable.
We have this notion that somehow if you're poor, you cannot do it. Poor kids are just as bright and just as talented as white kids.
Oh my God.
That one was the one that hit me the most when Biden said poor kids are just as strong and talented as white kids. As pretty much everyone I've ever met will attest, white kids are also poor. There's a lot of us. And as Democrats love to point out, there's a lot more of us on welfare systems and such than any other race. Although that's mostly because there's so many more of us, so on and so forth, but man, get Biden off my screen. No, it proves a point. Trust me, we're going through a whole thing. Or like when he told Charlemagne the God, if you don't know whether or not you want to vote for me, then you're not black.
Figuring out whether you're for me or Trump, and you ain't black.
I'm proud to be a bartender. Ain't nothing wrong with that.
Oh, God.
Wrong with working retail, folding clothes.
An AOC trying to sound like a Southern black person. Or just a Southern person in general. When she's from a very elite suburb of New York City is just hilarious to me.
Other people to buy.
That's right.
There is nothing wrong with preparing the food that your neighbors will eat.
dog. You need that food.
Feel no ways tired. Come too far from where I started from.
All right, now this one I'm pretty sure was just Hillary Clinton like reading a quote from something. God, I hope it was. I'm pretty sure it was. So I'm not going to count this one. Is it cringe in a vacuum? 100%. But it's not like the other ones. I don't think.
Told me that the road would be easy.
I'm just like you. My husband cheat.
How fun would it be? To
Okay, now this one was a lot of fun because this is a lot of Democrat senators. It also sinister, more sinister than senator. Wearing African garb and kneeling. I can't remember what the occasion was, but the funny part about it was it was slaveholder African, the people like the Africans who actually captured and sold the slaves. This is their garb. Do a little bit more research. Whoever your person is who does your research for you.
stiff arm,
My
hold
God.
her head down so she can't get up.
My mom was 19, pregnant, and divorced a few years later with 2 kids.
at the
came
hands.
for no money, and just hustled. Worked hard, grinding every single day.
We are preparing collard greens. For what? For Thanksgiving dinner.
I was 960 or 980 on my SAT. And that was cool. Like, my mom's like, it's okay. It's okay to be average. I think if you sign it, you get like 4 hours. And it's not an indictment, but I've got 4 kids.
Like I understand. I mean, I don't understand the lying bit, especially for your constituents that they can research this easily, but especially these days when everything is a Google search away. But then I remember who his constituents are, and who the people who will vote for Gavin Newsom are. They're like that clavicular guy who will literally just vote for him because he's more handsome. Not to say the conservatives don't do that, because that's what a lot of them did back for McCain. A lot of people who I knew personally when I was in the military voted for McCain because he had that hot vice president candidate. The one who thought she could see Russia from her house. Yeah, that's why they lost. Like that, I was on the fence that election because they were pretty much saying the same thing. And then I didn't know much about Biden at the time, but Palin was Palin in comparison.
It's all in club sports. And how that's become damn professional.
Pretty penny, yeah.
Right now we have, young black kids growing up in the Bronx who don't even know what the word a computer is. They don't know.
All right. So according to Governor Hochul, governor of New York, black kids don't know what computers are. This is less than 2 years ago.
The sign language lady has to do it.
Hold on.
Computer is. They don't know. They don't know.
The sign language lady has to do it.
Like you can see the look on the black sign language lady when the governor says that black kids don't know what computers even are. I can understand saying they don't have them, but saying they don't know what they are is retarded and elitist.
Black men are being killed in the street. What is democracy? Betrayal of broken promises still leave black communities behind. What does it mean? As we've heard before, to be a black man who loves his country, even if it doesn't love him back in equal measure.
What's something that you always carry with you?
All right, this is the worst one. What's something that Hillary Clinton, by the way, who's not from Arkansas like her husband, says this.
Hot sauce.
Hot sauce.
Yeah.
You know, people are going to see this and say, okay, she's pandering to black people.
Okay.
Is it working?
Pull out the hot sauce right now.
No.
Put it on the table.
They should have been like, pull it out right now.
Yeah, pull it out right.
Pull out
Exactly.
the hot sauce. What do you got? Tapatio, Frank's, Louisiana? What you working with?
Yeah, she's not working with anything. Look,
Like, I don't even know Frank.
I will tell you that this is what the left does, and this is why I would never insult your intelligence. I would never pander to you. Because I'm cool, dig? Like Hennessy on the rocks at my baby mama's house.
What the fuck is this?
I wouldn't do it.
No.
I wouldn't pander. I would never do that. Because I keep it real, fam.
What the
As
hell
you
even
know.
is this?
by my new mixtape or things of that nature that you have also checked out. It's just offensive. It's unnecessary. Also
inappropriate.
I as well didn't do nothing. You know. Let's go to.
All right, he was trying to do Keegan-Michael Key there. I see.
Canada.
What was your SAT score?
I had a sudden demographic shift.
Oh, you're still here, which is a miracle.
But yeah, and this is, look, it's horribly cringe when any politician tries to quote unquote relate to people, and they just come off as more out of touch than they were before. The fact that Clinton, Biden, Jesus, and now Newsom, Pelosi, Schumer, they've all done this shit. And it's always the one who have lived the most elite lifestyles and utilized the system not to help other people, but to help themselves. Nancy Pelosi's, what's it called? Basically, her stock portfolio made, Ted Nugent, the guy who's utilized the stock market better than anybody else, made him blush. It's far better, albeit she's doing it with lower funds. She's had a higher success rate than people who are making their entire career just based off their own stock trading. Absolutely insane.
In the age of Instagram.
So let's continue to Mexico.
Cartels. 1 year ago, President Trump designated cartels as foreign terrorist organizations. Now, we've seen that with Venezuela, but he designated specifically Mexican cartels as foreign terrorist organizations. Why? Because they control government.
Which, honestly, I'm fine with, and completely shocked and surprised that this hasn't happened before. Look, love or hate Trump, you have to give credit where credit's due. Making drug cartels. Local gangs is one thing. Sure, whatever. But international, or at least foreign drug cartels, ones that operate within multiple countries, designating them as terrorist groups. I'm 100% fine with this. You should also do it with pretty much any of the pedophilia rings, where you have to also understand potato. A lot of the ones who move drugs also move, they traffic human trafficking is the word I'm looking for, phrase I'm looking for. I apologize. I haven't finished my first cup of coffee for the morning. But no, a lot of these people move in the same circles, or just straight up are the same. And a lot of people are against this because they view it as racism to put multinational drug cartels and human trafficking rings as terrorists. I don't see the difference, honestly. It's completely insane that people call it racism when it really doesn't matter who the race of the person doing the thing is. Just like with the Epstein files. I don't care if you're Democrat, Republican, Independent, Libertarian, whatever the fuck. Put these people in jail. I'm 100% okay with that. Yes, even if Trump or Clinton or, hell, even Obama, Biden, the other Clinton, Pelosi, anybody, I don't care. I don't care if J.D. Vance is on there. I don't care if Bernie Sanders is on there. Put them all in jail. All of them.
Right? They're effectively transnational actors, and they can destabilize entire countries.
Oh, and while you're at it, put the politicians who facilitate all these people in jail. Yes, that includes most of the state and local governance in Southern California. 100% on board with that. And Texas.
Regions, in some cases, halves of continents, and use fear, right, as a terrorist organization would. We saw this on full display yesterday. So first, let's set the stage. Monroe Doctrine, you know this. The Trump administration was very clear that the national security approach, the Western Hemisphere is ours. And thank God, Picture any other country in the Western Hemisphere and tell me you want them at the tiller of the ship. Right, he wrote, the United States will reassert and reinforce the Monroe Doctrine to restore American preeminence in the Western Hemisphere, to protect our homeland and access to key geographies throughout the region. So this is something that is well known. The left, of course, has complained about it.
Yeah.
And that means that anything President Trump does must be bad. So designating foreign drug cartels as terrorist organizations, they also believe it's bad. We saw them do it with Venezuela. Now, Mexico. The president there, Claudia Sheinbaum, has repeatedly rejected, she kind of did, but she doesn't really mean it, our intervention.
Es necesario reafirmar.
It is necessary to reaffirm that in Mexico, the people are in charge and that we are a free, independent, and sovereign country.
Yeah, not the cartels.
Cooperation, yes. Subordination and intervention, no. He has insisted on several occasions that the United States military be able to enter Mexico.
Is it just me, or does it look like Winston Churchill slept with Mother Teresa looking at this person?
Very firmly. First, because we defend our sovereignty, and second, because it is not necessary.
Defendemos nuestra soberanía. Y segundo, porque no es necesario.
Yeah.
And I will say this. Hold on. We'll go back just a split second. Guys, if you really want to treat yourself, watch Welcome to Derry on HBO Max with the sign language on. Oh my God, just treat yourself. At least watch the opening credits, because that little redheaded dude, just treat yourself. It's probably the best part of the show.
Y segundo, porque no es necesario.
Yeah. The people are in charge. Sure. People are in charge. So, you know, why would you care if a few drug cartels get taken out? Well, this weekend it turned into a war zone because of just that.
This is Dan Dix here reporting for Press for Truth, coming at you here live in Puerto Vallarta, Mexico. Just had the military driving past me, and as I understand it, I should not be around anywhere where the police or the military are, because they are the target right now. I can see the flames underneath that black smoke. Major flames there.
Corre, 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 corre.
That's just people having a domestic dispute.
And to the kid that I work with, who is currently on a little cruise that stops in Mexico from time to time, and I'm pretty sure Puerto Vallarta is on that list, shoot me or your mom or your uncle a text just to let us know you're okay, please. I've been kind of horrified since I heard about this.
No, don't take it out on the $5 rotisserie chickens.
Yeah. It's people having a dispute because the people aren't.
No, it's an adult offspring of a friend of mine. It's not a kid traveling by themselves. No.
Future, I'll just say CJNG. Their leader, El Mencho, was killed by some Mexican security forces. There wasn't any involvement of the United States outside of shared in.
Yeah, and people are saying that the United States did this. No. They shared intel with Mexican authorities, and Mexican authorities did this. They, quote unquote, accidentally killed the cartel leader. Yeah, they meant to capture him, ended up killing him, and this is what happens after that, apparently.
Tell from what we understand, but also there were numbers that came out that there were some American guardsmen, right?
No, sorry. These are the National Guard of Mexico.
Oh, National Guard.
25 were killed during the
25 Mexican.
The internal dispute.
And there were conflicting reports coming out, so we're still kind of parsing through it, but intel was shared. That's how we helped. Keep in mind, this is the main competitor to Sinaloa cartel.
Yeah.
That's El Chapo, for those of you who don't necessarily follow, if you're not in on the brackets of the drug cartels. And so what is happening is the cartels are now trying to what? Use terrorism. They're trying to retain power over and discourage the government from acting. The people of Mexico are not in charge of their own destiny. It has been for a long time, and you know this, and all of those who are in the know have known this. The drug cartel says jump and the government says how high. It just depends on which drug cartel has the most power at that point. That's why they have been designated foreign terrorist organizations. By the way, El Mencho's henchmen did not go down, I will give them credit where it's due, without a fight. I always forget how terrible that motion picture was.
Yeah, I remember that movie.
So, this isn't just a problem, though, for Mexico. Just like if Canada is communist, it's not just a problem for Canada. If Canada has a porous border, it's not just a problem for Canada, it's a problem for the United States. These cartels are a major threat to the United States. I'm not going to have the libertarian debate about the war on drugs. We live in reality right now, and drug cartels exist, and they do bad things. And if you legalize all drugs tomorrow, they would still exist. They would just do something else. Let me direct you to some facts. Check the references. Here's key fact number one. The CJNG, other cartels, are not just responsible for drugs, so about $100 billion a year. For example, 1 million pills, 77,000 kilograms of drugs were seized by the DEA. But there's also human trafficking, $13 billion a year. Now remember, there were 300,000 children lost under Biden. We don't have the exact numbers to know which ones were directly the result of these cartels. But here's the thing. If you just legalized all drugs, that $13 billion a year in human trafficking would go up. These people aren't drug dealers. These people are criminals and terrorists who happen to make money off of drugs. The idea that they are going to straighten up and fly right if you simply permit their behavior, like they're going to submit an IRS form, is ridiculous. Keep in mind, when you look at, you have a contrast. Former administration, right? Biden, drugs, including fentanyl, skyrocketed. The use, the importation therein, under President Trump, just this second term, fentanyl deaths are down almost 20%. You look at the border, which of course directly involves Mexico. 12 to 20 million completely unvetted illegals. I get it. Some of those are visa overstays. It's hard to get the exact number. Let's round it. Let's give it an even round 15 million. You have gangs taking over entire apartment complexes. Compare that to President Trump. Border crossings down by 95%. Cartel arrests are numbering around 7,000 at this point in time. Key fact number two, there's a reason that these people are considered terrorists. Okay? You saw what they did in Mexico, but they've also been doing this here. So in 2025, Mexican national was charged with terrorism in Texas for providing material to support the CJNG cartel. Grenades, weapons, cash, was arrested in Mexico, extradited to the United States. For some reason, though, even with all of this being said, the left, the same left who says that waving the flag at the Olympics and chanting USA turns them off, you know what else turns them off? Designating cartels as foreign terrorist organizations. This comes from New York Times, Cato. You guys will have all the references. Brennan Center for Justice wrote, "The dangerous sweep of Trump's plan to designate cartels as terrorist organizations." I'm sure, but you know what I think is more, dangerous? Drug cartels.
Wait, I don't know. I mean, labels are kind of worse.
Labels, man. Cato wrote, Trump administration shouldn't designate drug cartels as foreign terrorist organizations. What? I'm sure they have some pseudo-libertarian, really a liberal in disguise reason for it, but you know what?
It's because drug cartels are scary.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
We don't want to misidentify them.
New York Times wrote, how labeling cartels terrorists could hurt the U.S. economy. What? I mean, I guess we'd lose $100 billion in drugs per year if that's how you want to. That's how you want to frame it. At what point do?
Hold on. No, this is news to me, and this. Look, Stephen King just needs to stop going on X. Right here. Like, I understand hating Trump, sure, but being retarded is never an option. When, I mean, come on. He said Trump has never had a child, has been married 3 times, ran several businesses into the ground. Like, as far as this goes, he has several kids. He has fathered, I guess, is the word, several kids. Look, it's okay to be accurate or inaccurate, but when you have such a large platform, like you expected from little, shit weasels like me on the internet, very small following. But this is Stephen King. I mean, this guy has been ruining great ideas for horror for decades. And that he's horrible at endings. For the most part. Some of them are pretty cool. But they have nothing to do with what's been going on until then. It's just like, oh, all of a sudden, hey, a giant turtle. But married 3 times, ran several businesses into the ground. Look, failure is always an opportunity. I won't knock someone for their failures if they, keep trying and keep going. That's just stupid. Nobody wins on the first shot, and no one wins every time. Not even, apparently, guys like Trump. Calls people he works with dumb losers, etc. I call people I work with dumb losers. They're my friends. He has never done sweat labor. Neither of you. Come on. Has never served on a local committee. Okay. Has no life experience. That's kind of projecting there. I'm not going to deny that that's false for Trump, but I mean, come on. That's like me telling people they have no life. What's the point?
Say, these people are just anti-American across the board. They hate, they revile the United States of America. The left is not a part of American society. It is no longer, the Democrat Party is no longer a political party. They don't like the flag. They don't like borders. They don't like us being tough on drug cartels.
Bless you.
What do we do? Balkanization almost seems okay to me at this point. I think we may be long overdue for a divorce. Wait, if you say, well, why? Aren't we all Americans? Yeah, but you don't like the flag.
And as far as this goes, I would... Look. His parents probably asked that his death not be propagandized was so they wouldn't be harassed by people like Evan Loves Worf. Yeah. It's always funny how people who don't really give a shit about the family's wishes and all that always change their tune when it supports theirs, when it's devastating to their own side's case.
Flag. If I say, America, your stomach turns. If I say, hey, can't we sort of try and clamp down on drug cartels? You go, no.
Sorry, real quick. And as far as this goes, look, you remember when the guy that shot Charlie Kirk, they were like, oh, he's a MAGA guy because his parents are MAGA guys. Let's wait for more information to come out before we start, calling victory. All right? It's always fun to get these breaking stories out first. But even when it's being presented by local authorities, just wait a minute. Just wait. Do you remember when news was about being accurate, not about who was first to say something, and then you kind of roll the dice and hope to God you don't have to post an apology or a retraction on page 16 the next day or a few days later? I mean, hell, people are just now finding out that, oh, maybe Kurt Cobain wasn't a suicide based on not even new evidence, but someone else's analysis of said evidence. Why we're still investigating that, I'll never know. But it's there and it's happening. So just wait. Couple more days. I mean, come on.
Oh, no, that's not right. That'd be bad for America. And if I say why, you say, like, what do you, what? How do we find common ground at this point? And of course, these same people bitched about President Trump bombing narco-terrorist drug boats.
The Pentagon's announced the U.S. blew up another boat in the Eastern Pacific, killing 4 people, claiming the boat was carrying drugs, but once again offering no proof.
You probably saw news that last week the Trump administration took this airstrike on a boat off the coast of Venezuela. First of all, we have sort of no information on who was on that boat or who was killed. It might be, as the Trump administration says, members of a drug cartel.
Well, that's some information, isn't it?
Civilians.
Yeah.
His stated reason for taking the strikes to try to stop the flow of drugs in the United States, it makes no sense as the centerpiece of the counter-narcotics
Guarantee you those drugs didn't make it.
In many ways, it's bringing the logic of Gaza into the Caribbean in terms of unaccountability.
That man's body
impunity,
generates no pigment.
And an expansive
sexual
notion
aura.
of national defense to justify
You saw him and thought about sex.
what is in
Josh? Weird.
effect just extrajudicial killing.
It is about separation of powers. Doesn't for the folks who wave their Constitution around, read
Who
the
does
damn
that?
thing.
Okay, I
Who waves
have.
the Constitution around?
I have. What are you trying to say that the Constitution says that we can't designate any foreign terrorist organizations to be terrorist organizations? Like, whenever the left says the Constitution, you know they're lying to you. Just to be clear, whenever someone on the left says, actually, I'm a Christian, but you know they're lying to you. And when we're talking about sinking these boats, like terrorists or no terrorists, it's sink or swim time for Mexico. And if you like me, fam, you know I can't swim.
All right. So this Virginia governor, because she's helping press Sharia law in Virginia and a lot of other really controversial things, but now she's taxing people for walking dogs. It's kind of weird. Like she's doing a lot of things that just makes no sense. Now, as far as banning AI, it should only be illegal if you have them doing lewd or horrible things. But if you just have them walking from atrocity that they're committing to not atrocity is too harsh a word, but a horrible, terrible thing that they're pressing, especially when they ran on a much more moderate platform. I'm kind of here for it. You know what I'm saying? Like, it gives a visual to stimulate people's minds as to what these things actually mean, and then you can Google it from there. But yeah. So she's taxing dog walkers, and these are all verifiable things. And a lot of these laws that they're passing in these bigger cities to tax the wealthy, that's how it starts. And then the wealthy have enough money to leave. And most of them do. You see it in California. You've seen it in other places like Chicago. This is why Detroit kind of looks like the Middle East in some parts right now. And I'm not talking about demographics. I'm talking about it looks pretty bombed out. You see a lot of people since Mamdani was elected moving out of New York City because he's putting laws like this into place, and he's taxing the rich, which, sure, whatever. But then when the rich leave because they have the money to do so, then you start doing other things like putting laws into place to tax the shit out of people who try to leave your city. And then you pretty much trap all the poor people in your town. And those taxes that you had on the rich suddenly start affecting the middle class, the upper middle class first. But this is how you hollow out major cities. And the fact that he's kind of hollowing out New York right now it's absolutely insane. And the fact that some of these people ran as moderates, and the second they hit the ground. Now, if you have studied and watched Mamdani in some other videos, you kind of see that he had said the actual thing in the past, so you're not surprised by it. But a lot of the people who live in New York who only watch the campaign ads, if even that, they're pretty surprised.
So let's go to tourism.
Yeah, nailed it. They love you.
Just got some new.
Wait, what just happened?
Votes.
Yeah.
What is happening? Hold on. Well, that's not good.
Or sexual aura.
They're lying to you. Just to be clear, whenever someone on the left says, actually, I'm a Christian, but you know they're lying to you. And when we're talking about sinking these boats, like terrorists or no terrorists,
Oh, okay.
it's sink or swim time for Mexico. And if you like me, fam, you know I can't swim.
I mean, I'm kind of okay with it for this moment here because the Pander Cam's kind of a stupid segment, but.
Tourism.
Yeah, nailed it. They love you.
Just got some new votes.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's playing for y'all, but not for. Oh, hold on.
The traders in Canada, our greatest friends. Canada. Yeah, they're our greatest friends. So we designate a group, domestic.
Turns out
foreign terrorist organization.
I'm retarded.
They take over
I know you're very
cities in
surprised
Mexico
by
and
this.
show exactly what we told you to be true, that they control governments and that is a threat to the United States. So what is Canada?
But no, it wasn't showing up on my mixer for a
Canada
second.
do? Our greatest friend. They encourage their people to go to Mexico. Tourism from Canadians to Mexico up 12%.
And then that's kind of ridiculous. Sending people to a place where stuff like this has been happening and is currently, wow, like it's popping off there right now, and people are being trapped
Down 28%
there
going to the United States
because Canada sent tourists, encouraged tourists to go to Mexico to spite the U.S. intervention with a lot of these cartels.
Believe that it's safer than the United States for them to be in Mexico.
Hope you're enjoying it.
Yeah, you can't make this shit up.
Here's a post from.
I mean, you can, but you don't have to.
X wrote, last week I had a trip booked to the U.S. Canceled that and went to Mexico. If you're looking for a vacation, I suggest Mexico. The love for Canadians is real down there. And your kidneys. Better food, better people, better country.
Papa John's.
And they don't.
Papa Juan.
And they don't have an elderly orange rapist felon as a president. Okay. Okay. So the drug cartels in Mexico are better than President Trump, and they're better specifically for Canadians. All right. And the Mexican tourism minister said that Canadians going to Mexico said, I think they are choosing more friendly policies. You know what else? This happened when I was growing up. Canada did this with Cuba. You could actually argue that the people of Cuba, because there are consequences, right? Canadians going, we're going to stick it to the United States. I can't believe they beat us at hockey, even though winning doesn't matter, right? It just matters how you live. But we're going to Mexico. They did the same thing with Cuba. The people of Mexico will be under the thumb of the drug cartels as long as Canada does this. That's why countries boycott. Countries, just to be clear, that's why countries have embargoes. That's why countries.
I love how it always slips in the fact that Trudeau kind of looks like Castro.
Sanctions. Cuba.
And Trudeau's mom was known to have been in Cuba around the time of his conception.
And their never-ending lineage in power afloat with their tourism dollars when the United States said we're no longer allowing our people to go to Cuba. Do you think the people... Let me ask you this. Canadians go, we're going to Cuba. I can get some rum there duty-free. Whatever the hell it is.
Oh, yeah. Trump... Well, he didn't almost get assassinated. The guy went to Mar-a-Lago when Trump wasn't there. He was at I think the governor's mansion, maybe, in Florida. But yeah, someone tried again. And the left is saying, oh, he's a Trump supporter. He was a big Trump supporter. He just didn't like the way the Epstein list was doled out. And I'm like, well, most of it's released now. Like I understand being mad when the whole thing happened, but right now, I mean, it's still coming out. Back then, sure, whatever, if that's your prerogative, it would have at least made sense. I still wouldn't have done it or encouraged it, but I don't know. People are really dumb, and I'm not going to say whether or not he's on the left or right. One, because I don't care. All right, people who do bad thing need to go to jail. But it will be interesting to find out if he does, in fact, turn out to be a Trump supporter who just doesn't like the way the Epstein list was doled out, or if we find more things out about him, like we did the guy who shot the Kirk.
Why do you think when Cubans get to America, well over 80% of them vote Republican and conservative? Do you think they're happy to see Canadians go there and every dime they spend goes directly to the fascist, autocratic communist regime? What I'm trying to say is just sticking it to America because you have a jealousy complex, it's not annoying. It kills people. It kills people. I know because I was one of them. I had to go to Cuba. I was one of few Americans who went to both Guantanamo Bay to do some shows for the troops as an American. And when I was young, I had to go to Cuba on a Canadian passport for a Rising Crust pizza commercial, which, by the way, pretty sure was a money laundering scheme.
Yeah, I don't see why the Rising Crust is coming out of Cuba.
Yeah, well, they needed it to be set during the summer. They needed to blow their budget. And I remember my mom leaving a tip on a bill. And I was a minor. I think I was 16, and I said, "Mom, if you do that, that's not gonna go to her. That's gonna go." And my mom said, "Oh, I'm sorry. Hey, if I put that, does that go to you?" And she just my mom said, "You know what? Never mind. Let me write that. I'll give you cash." She said, "Don't touch the bill. Don't touch the bill. Don't scratch. They'll know." Like she was gonna be carried away forever, forever. Canadians support the government of Cuba. Canadians support the government of Mexico in bed with the cartels while they virtue signal, and those people will never enjoy basic freedoms. But you know what? You have the moral high ground, Canada, because you kill 5% of your population with euthanasia. Now, surprise, Canadians are stuck in Mexico.
For all the Edmontonians out there, they were telling us to go over there, but yeah, we all had to run here in Puerto Vallarta.
And by the way, that sucks. If that guy's Canadian, serves you right. Here's what Canadians don't do. Is this right or is this wrong? They can't answer it. It's a godless nation. Ironically, because they still actually have God in their national anthem, which has offended a lot of people. They have no basis to declare what is right and what is wrong. And so, their moral compass is, we don't like America. What will bother America? They can't say that objectively tariffs from the United States on Canadian goods is wrong because they do it. They do it. If they had an objective standard of right and wrong, they would say, well, we've done tariffs, and so they're doing. So you know what? That makes sense. Maybe we should either all do away with tariffs or just sort of accept these terms. Instead, it's, we don't like America, so we should be able to do it, and they shouldn't be allowed to. Canada has not met their NATO spending for decades. Canada wouldn't exist as a country if not for the United States. But instead of saying, is it objectively wrong for us to sign a contract and not honor it, do they have a point? They go, well, we don't like America, they can afford it, so screw them, we're gonna buddy up with China. This is why you're seeing a resurgence in Christian nationalism, because people need to be able to govern themselves with an objective standard of truth, of right and wrong. Canada doesn't have that. That's why they're killing their own people in record numbers. That's why they are allowing men to compete in women's sports and championing it. That's why they use stupid terms like two-spirited.
No, and that is true. Canada is, I think they're up to killing 5% of their own citizens every year due to, I think it's legal to assist suicide there. And they're allowed to advertise this. And they will pull people in and basically if they're depressed, they will convince them to partake in this. I've been actually gathering a little bit on this. I'll probably do it for Saturday. No, it's horrible and sad. Like, I mean, you can make the argument if, they would let the government do it, then they would do it. But it just kind of goes along with, like, yes, there are people who would commit suicide anyway, but you can be coaxed into it as well. Just like all kinds of things. Like, how being trans is kind of trendy for some people. For some people, it absolutely is who they are and the way they see themselves. But for a lot of people, it's just a trend.
It's why they implement tariffs and when it happens.
And it's easy to be convinced into it, which is why we have so many detransitioners.
And it's why.
But you can't detransition from death.
Give their dollars to oppressive governments that jail political dissidents while convincing themselves that they have the moral high ground. I really mean it. I really, really mean it. The United States should militarily intervene in Canada. Because of this, and a bunch of other reasons that we've covered, they're actually a national security threat. They're actually a national security threat because we don't share any common ground.
And I completely agree, but we do share common ground. In that the Canadian border with the U.S., is horribly marked. In some places, it's literally one side of the street's Canada, one side of the street is America. How did this happen? I don't understand it. Small towns where half is Canada and half is America. From what I've heard and little clips I've seen and such, could be completely false, but from Google searches and other things, it seems to be legit, which is interesting. And a little scary now that Canada is cozying up to China quite a bit. Mark Carney, somehow worse than Trudeau. And Trudeau may or may not have been the illegitimate offspring of Castro.
Or language as to what is right and what is wrong. And we are
Probably not, but it's fun to entertain.
I really hope you guys leave. And we're
He does
not
look a
saying
lot
after
like
the
him.
51st state, we'll just have a relationship with you. But I think our relationship with Canada needs to be done with. It's over. It is an immoral, godless, conquered people who only take, they don't give. Can anyone tell me this? How has Canada benefited the world? In any significant measure. They'll say they have a peacekeeping force. Whatever. So do we. It's called the United States military. What have they done? They've had more time than the United States in many ways. You guys may not know this. And they certainly had a leg up because they didn't fight royalty. They bowed to them. Why isn't the rest of the world saying, dear, when an earthquake happens, when a tsunami happens, why aren't they saying, dear God, I hope the Canadians help us? You're selfish pricks, Canada, and you mistreat everyone. We are only as valuable to you as the handouts we give. And I don't think we should be doing that anymore. Hey, if you're still watching this.
And if you haven't lost faith in humanity, here's one last little bit. Bonnie Blue, that's right, the OnlyFans person who slept with 400 people in one go. I don't even want to know how that was. It was like a conga line. Did they play the dun 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 boom dun 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 boom? She's pregnant. You gotta love it. The fact that anyone went in there without a condom, or at all, for that matter. And then this person who at least says they're the Maury Show says, hey, stop tagging me in this shit. I don't care. We don't have the funds for that. We can't afford to give all these people paternity tests. My God. But just... I will never understand. Like, I get it. Sure. Whatever. Why would anyone be a part of this? But that being said, I got no place to leave off on this. My God. What a world we live in. Oh, hey, Nicki Minaj commenting on this. That's fun. His way of bonding with black people is to tell them how stupid he is and that he can't read. My first read on him was correct. He's been handed so many things and put in high, but this is exactly my take. I'm kind of surprised that I have the same take as someone with ass implants. I got to reframe myself a bit. He's been handed so many things and put in high positions. Do you want to know the craziest part of this footage that will haunt him forever? He's literally slowing his speech down and talking in sporadic cadence. He 100% is. Because he does talk faster than this normally. He's not just telling them that they're probably stupid and can't read. He's literally slowing his speech down to make them understand the words that are coming out of his mouth, as if they're children. That means he really believes they're slow. He's not just saying it. Oh, my God. Wow. Nicki Minaj, ladies and gentlemen, in a rare case where she comes off as based. But anyway, that's it for me, guys. I got to get out of here. Thank you for stopping by. We've had a high viewer count after our little hiatus. Not high in general, but high for the channel. I very much appreciate everyone who stops by, especially the regulars. Shapeshifter, it's good to see you. Evil Sizer, I think I saw you pop in here. But yeah, just look, I got no way to sign off for this, so I'm just going to back away slow as I usually tend to do. But thank you so much for stopping by. This has been Alfie Animus for the Bear in Mind channel. Have a good one.